I wanted to quickly speak about holiness. Now, this is a big issue in the churches of this modern age, especially in the West. We are being fooled into thinking that church is kind of a sort of slack, hip, trendy place. And it's all about grace, and it's all about we're all saved, we believe in Jesus. And what's happening is, I'm not saying this is the case with all churches, but what I'm saying is this attitude of worldliness is creeping in. It really is, and it's having quite a dramatic difference. It's having a big difference, and there's quite a dramatic difference now to how the church was 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. A big shift is taking place. Now, holiness is extremely important. Extremely important. And I've got it here. And here's some other words: divinity, godliness, saintliness, sanctitude, faith, devotion, devoutness, divineness, blessedness, spirituality, etc., purity, virtue, perfection, goodness. All these things are so important. Now, they're important because Jesus said, "Be holy, for I am holy." And it also says in the Bible, "Be holy because your Father in heaven is holy." We must be holy. Again, what does holy... How can we define ourselves as holy? What are we doing that would mean we're not holy? Well, I'll put it this way. What you do tend to find is that when people go to church and when people present themselves to other people, they will put on a front to fit into that holy category. But what are we like when we go home? What are we like when there's no one watching us? What are we like when we are in the company of people who don't believe? Do we go out with these people? Do we socialize too much with these people and follow what they do? For example, simple thing like swearing. And not just that, what is coming out of our mouth? Not just at church, we really need to think about that. What is coming out of the mouth? You'll be amazed at the amount of people who have ended up in hell because of what comes out of their mouth, including Christians. Including Christians who cannot control their mouth. Swearing, all kinds of profanities, and not just swearing, insults, just gossip, worldliness. Remember that when we talk about worldly things, we're setting a precedent. If that's all we talk about, we are setting a precedent for it to be acceptable. We've got to remember that God is perfect. He knows everything and he sees all our flaws. It's a bit like when the sun is really, really, really bright and it shines on your car window screen and you see all the imperfections in the window screen, all bits of dirt and everything. God can't help but see all that, so we've got to be very careful. We must keep our thoughts clear as well. So it's not just what comes out of our mouths, it's what we think in our mind's eye. What goes on in our mind. What are we thinking about saying? What do we think? And what kind of ideas do we give to other people? All these things. Another thing as well, just a simple thing like tight jeans. You see, the thing is, because society has slowly drawn itself away from holiness, people think these things are acceptable. and a lot of celebrities are promoting it. When you see people walking down the street with tight jeans that are ripped, you almost think nothing of it because it's so normal. But really, it's a sexual statement. It entices the eyes. It's a tool of Satan. Obviously, here's another thing as well. Pornography, which is obviously linked to things like that, but pornography, how many people are watching this kind of material? Men and women, this is, by the way, men and women. Are they, you'd be amazed because some people watch this kind of stuff and then ask Jesus to be forgiven, and then wait and a few months or whatever, and then watch this stuff again and ask Jesus to be forgiven, and then watch it again. You know, there must be people like this all over the place. We've got to be really careful. Keep away from all these kinds of things. Swearing, what we think, what we say, what we wear, what we watch. Another thing as well, money. Is money our God? Are we tithing? Do you tithe? Tithing, you see, is important. Why? Because God, that money goes to God and His works. Don't let Satan talk you out of it and think that, oh, you know, all these pastors are con men and all this kind of stuff. And no, find a church that you can give online as well. You don't even have to be a member of a church or some kind of embodiment of Christ to give money. You don't actually have to be a physical member. So think about that as well. And finally, pride of life. Pride of life is found only once in the Bible, but the concept of the pride of life, especially as it is linked with the lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, appears in two more significant passages of Scripture. Temptation of Eve in the garden, temptation of Christ in the wilderness. Pride of life. Are we proud of what we have in the world to the point where we think we've got it kind of made? It says 1 John 2:26, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not from the Father. Now just think about how many people that falls on. And I'll read it again. For all that is in the world, all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not from the Father, but is from the world. The things of the world, the cravings of the earthly nature, the cravings of the eyes, and the show and pride of life, they all come not from the Father but from the world. So let's think about it. So again, you see, this comes into the category of holiness. If we're holy, we're not lustful of the flesh, we haven't got the lust of the eyes, we're not proud, we haven't got this pride of life that's ruling over us, that wants people to envy you. This is pride of life. People want to be envied, don't they? They want to be... It's all wrong. We've got to step out of that. Be holy. Because without it, we're not going to see God, and we're not going to be part of the kingdom of heaven. So please be aware of that, and I hope that in some way this video has helped you.